Bind up. Bind up when you're broken and beat up and you just feel like, I don't know if I can keep going in life. Someone needs to sharpen you. Teaching. Praying for. I can remember the first time somebody prayed for me. Actually said, we're going to pray for you. And my visceral, sinful reaction was, you don't need to pray for me, I'm okay. Well, it took some maturity for me to realize, you know what? I'm not okay. I really need a lot of prayer. So I've really changed over time. I've become sharper. Renew. Love. Discipline. Those are ways that people are sharpened. Now, the problem with this sermon today is I started thinking, okay, how has that happened in my life? And we would be here till, I don't know, midnight, and I would cover maybe a quarter of the illustrations I could come up in my life where God has used people to help sharpen me because I'm so dull. I was talking with Tom. Can I share this, Tom? I was talking with Tom this morning, and I said, tell me your guitar journey. And he said, well, I taught myself. I thought, okay, that doesn't work for a sermon illustration. Is there a better one? And he said, well, yeah. Oh, then he knew what I was doing. And he said, vocal lessons. He said, I had a guy by the name of Jim Ellsbury. I know Jim Ellsbury. He's a great guy. And he was his high school vocal teacher. And taught him not just how to sing, but taught him he had worth and value as a person. And with that came an incredible passion invested in music. That's what happens when this sharpening, this honing begins to happen. We're affected deeply within ourselves. And we are literally transformed into a new creature. I had similar experiences with my vocal teachers. Powerful. Chuck DeWall, who I probably engaged more spiritual conversations with him than I did vocal lessons. Lucinda Sloan, who has been teaching at Midland College, was my voice coach in college. And again, challenging, moving you to the next level, helping you to excel, to become better. If you don't do that, you just kind of stay where you are, and you just kind of grow rusty and dusty, and you're just not real usable. I remember in college, or high school, I had a football coach. And I had a football coach who told me and taught me not just about football. He literally taught me about life. When I was in high school, I played offensive tackle, and I weighed 165 pounds. I played against all these guys that weighed 210, 225, 230. I was quicker than they are, but they could squish me like a bug. So that poor coach, he spent that whole summer trying to fatten me up. My senior year, I drank so many chocolate malts, I thought I was going to just become a chocolate malt. And I didn't gain 1 single pound. I saw him a couple weeks ago, and I said, Coach, I made playing weight. And he said, I see. Before every game, this coach, brace yourself, fasten your seatbelts, he would pray before we went on the football field. The prayer that he prayed, he gave me a copy of, and I carried it around in my wallet for years and years and years until it finally just totally fell apart. I don't know how he heard that story, but when I saw him a couple weeks ago, he brought me a new copy of the prayer. I want to share it with you. This is what he prayed before every football game. This is the beginning of a new day. God has given me this day to use as I will. I can waste it or use it for good. What I do today is very important because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving something in its place I have traded for it. I want it to be gain, not loss. Good, not evil. Success, not failure. In order that I shall not forget the price I paid for it. And we'd go out and play football. This is a lesson that was way beyond that football game. It was a lesson that I've carried throughout my entire life. That the day that the Lord has given us is a blessing. And we're called to use it for things that are in line with what God has desired for us in that day. Not to waste the days we're given, but to use them to glorify God. My football coach taught me that in the locker room. Incredible. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. You know, there are times in your life when you kind of think, okay, I'm pretty good at something, and then you run into somebody else, and they just bury you, and you go, wow, I don't know anything. And it's usually when you hook yourselves to those type of individuals, people who have excelled, people who have taken things to another level, and you start hanging around them, that suddenly you begin to perform better as well. You're being sharpened, you're being honed. Back when I used to play tennis before my knees blew out, both of them, I discovered something interesting. When I played someone who was worse at tennis than I, what do you think happened to my tennis game? It got worse. I played horribly. When I'd play somebody that was way out of my league, guess what? I got beat all the time, but my game improved. I got to be better, right? That's this sharpening, that's this honing skill that's absolutely incredible. When I went to seminary, I was all excited to go and become a pastor, and I thought, this is what I want to be. This is exactly what God's called me to be. After I went through all the list of other things that I thought God wanted me to be, right? And I came down to this one, and I thought, this is really my destiny, right? And a strange thing happened to me in seminary. I thought I'd go to seminary and have my faith just enriched, that I'd get a supercharge of faith. And what happened is I got just the opposite. I got attacked. I got ridiculed. Okay? And the interesting thing was, it wasn't because of what I believed. It was because of my political position. Now, any Democrats out here, put your fingers in your ears. I voted for Ronald Reagan while living in Minnesota while he ran against Walter Mondale. Because of that, I was being attacked of how could I be a Christian. So severely that I almost decided I don't have what it takes to be a pastor. I might not even have what it takes to be a Christian. I went on internship, and my internship supervisor, a great guy by the name of Kent Morris over in Wahoo, Nebraska, one day sat me down and said, "Why are you so down on yourself? God has blessed you abundantly. Why are you just kind of going through the motions?" And he honed me. He sharpened me. He knocked off all the rust and the crud that had developed and helped me see clearly what it meant to be a pastor. It's not being about a Republican or Democrat. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you believe in the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ. That you believe with the passion that God has placed within you to the very core of your existence, that what Jesus Christ did on the cross is the salvation for all of humanity. And he said, why should you be afraid to share that? And I got so excited, and I went back for my final year at seminary, and I was a problem child up there because I was on fire for Jesus Christ. I didn't care about all the crud of all the other stuff. That is honing. That is iron sharpening iron. That's one man sharpening another. So with clarity, he can see purpose and get through all the crud in life and understand what is the most important thing. Preaching. I love preaching, but I didn't really know how to preach until I ran into a guy by the name of Ken Davis. Church council was gracious enough to send George and I, first of all, to a preaching workshop by Ken Davis, and it was just extraordinary. He revolutionized the way that I understood to preach.